Tesla recently held their Tesla Semi delivery event 2 weeks ago in Sparks, Nevada. This is a huge accomplishment because a lot of people highly doubted that Tesla could make a viable electric semi-truck. To some people, it's like science fiction. Other car companies said if they made one, they will buy 2 copies of the Semi, one to test and one to do a breakdown to see how they made it. In this video, I'll welcome back Ezer to the channel to speak to him about his thoughts about the Tesla Semi, the future of electrification opportunities for transportation, and what all this means for Tesla investors. Click subscribe to stay updated to more videos on Tesla. Welcome back to the channel.
Oh, before that, guess who said that?
Who?
That you can't make the Semi. Like, impossible. It's impossible. Even there's a video called Engineering something. They have like millions of subscribers. They made a whole video that says it's impossible to do. And this guy is an engineer. And he's putting up all the math why it's impossible.
As Elon has said, physics is the law. Everything else
Yeah.
is recommendation.
Exactly.
I want to congratulate you first. Ezer recently got his first like from Elon for your Tesla Semi tweet.
Yeah, that made my day. I'm like
How do you
it's like,
feel?
it's good. It's good. The last time I got one from his mom. And this is the first time I got a like from Elon.
Give us a few highlights of that tweet thread on Tesla Semi.
The Tesla Semi is an engineering feat, I think we all agree. In the delivery event, we saw that they built this truck from the ground up. Like, what's important, like the limiting factor would be the battery. I think this is where most of these engineers or even Bill Gates, they got this hiccup there. It's like, okay, they calculated like a napkin math. Okay, how heavy is the battery? And how much do you need it? And is it going to cost like they take away most of the weight from the truck that you can't even put any more things inside, right? I mean, that's how they approach this, including the engineering guy. So Tesla had to figure out a way to make the truck extremely efficient. So what they did was, they call it like creating a bullet form truck. If you look
So
at
you see the shape.
Yeah, you can see the air movement, right?
It's almost like the Japanese bullet train. Right?
Yeah,
That's it.
exactly. So they had to redesign the truck in many ways to get the efficiency up. So without that efficiency, I think all these people will be right. That's why you see the competitors can't do. I mean, the closest competitor I've seen that has a truck out there, it's only in the 200 plus miles. 200 plus mile. I mean, we're talking a semi truck here, right? Not just like the smaller trucks. To drag 80,000 pounds of weight. I've seen that there are other electric trucks, like Chinese electric trucks. They're only like in a 200-mile range. But Tesla has managed to make a 500-mile range truck.
So you said like the Tesla Semi has the bullet form.
Uh-huh.
How come most semi trucks looks like Optimus Prime, like a square box like that? So is it something that Tesla engineers are just smarter, or what happened there, you think?
I think a lot of companies are just like, they're not run by engineers. So their CEOs probably like, hey, put a battery in there.
I see.
I want an electric truck, right? So I don't think they put in that much effort. I think Tesla is different as a company. They look at everything from a first principles point of view. Like, okay, if we're going to make this truck, we have to work with, you notice they actually, before they work on this truck, they actually work with the companies. Like they work with Pepsi. They actually have their engineers go to these companies and work with their transport or whatever it is, their logistics department, and say, okay, give me a list of things that you really need. If we can meet these things economically, would you buy our truck?
Good point.
I bet that's what they did, right? In fact, that's why it took so long for them to make this truck.
I want to add to your point here. So we all know that Tesla made the delivery to PepsiCo.
Yeah.
What many do not know is that PepsiCo is one of the largest private fleet operators in North America. They have 24,000 trucks.
So I believe this is what they did. So just with all the other cars, right? Efficiency very important. So they have tested this truck recently in their presentation. Just before the presentation, they have driven this truck and loaded it up to 82,000 pounds total. The tractor and whatever weight they carry, 82,000 pounds. Actually, the allowable limit for ICE trucks are 80,000, but there is an extra 2,000 pounds for EV truck. So they loaded it fully. They travel from Fremont to, I think, San Diego, and they had to go through like 4,000 elevation, 4,000 feet of elevation. So they didn't really cheat, right? They just go through whatever route that's needed, and they managed to do it all 500 miles with a little bit of battery spec. So they did it, right? I mean, it's not impossible. They actually did it. And if you notice, like one of the myths is that I keep hearing after I posted my thread is that, oh, but ICE truck can go up the hill faster, right? And electric trucks, you're going to use up all your battery. But that is just the opposite.
You all saw the clip.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy.
Yeah, electric trucks, the electric motor has instant torque. It's basically very powerful magnets. You put some bolt in, and it's going to turn, right? The single, as Elon said, it's a tri-motor system. They have one efficiency motor in front, which is the one that's pulling the truck along. So essentially, most of the time, you're basically just using one motor. So that is one of the efficiency that they built in. They call it the efficiency motor, and they have two torque motors. So these are the ones that if you need the power, let's say if you slam on the fuel,
Yeah.
those two are gonna push, right? And then
I can't help when you say that, right? Because I'm an Apple investor, I'm a big M1 fan. I think the same way they make M1 chips, right? They've got the efficiency core and also the performance core.
it's the same. It's the same.
Similar
Yeah.
idea.
So you don't want to put, you don't have like one engine that does everything, right? So they have an efficiency motor in front. Just imagine this motor is so light, it's made of carbon fibers. You can actually carry it, and it's more powerful than the entire ICE engine truck motors. This one motor you can carry is actually more powerful. And now they have three of them. The one of them is meant to go like, steady state. So it's very efficient. So you're asking me how they managed to make this happen. Because it's physics, right? You only have that much battery you can put in. And that battery is going to weigh that much. So how are you going to make it go as far as possible? So these are the things you have to look at. So they have an efficiency motor. They have the true torque motor. Say if you're going uphill or if you're accelerating, those kicks in, right, and push you forward. And that's where you get the efficiency, right, and the power. So if it's going uphill, it's very powerful. You saw the clip, right? That ICE truck is struggling up, and this one just comes.
It is like
It's like a car.
the
basically.
passing of a generation there.
Yeah, it's like a car basically. It's not like a truck. It's moving like a car, right? And another thing I want to talk to you about is going uphill for EV, any kind of EV, especially a truck carrying heavy load, is that it treats hills like flats. Because when you go uphill, you use extra energy. Almost all of that, it becomes potential energy once you reach the top. And when it comes back down, the regen is where the battery gets back all that. And it doesn't use your brake, right? So you can go down the hill, like, I don't know, miles and miles, like 10 miles of hill if you're going downhill. You reach down there, your brakes will be cold because you haven't used it.
They are turning like a downside of a truck going downhill where they tap the brake, which is where like 36% of all the brake particles come from, to now an advantage because they gain energy.
No, actually, basically, the energy that you lost growing up, the extra energy that you lost growing up, you gain back. At least most of it. So essentially, it's it doesn't matter if you're going hills or flat, you're going to get your 500 miles. If you have an ICE truck or diesel truck, if you have two routes, one is a flat road, another one is a hilly road, it's not going to have the same mileage, right? Because whatever it spent going up that hill, it's lost completely. When you're going down, you're just burning your brakes. You're not generating extra energy, right?
True.
Yeah. So for the for the Tesla Semi, it doesn't matter what kind of route you go. If they say you can go 500 miles, they go 500 miles. They have demonstrated that in this 500-mile journey, Elon Musk has tweeted this. He says the efficiency currently is 1.7 kilowatt hour per mile. Have you seen the Rivian truck?
Yes.
I mean, that thing is more than that. Using more energy than that. Someone mentioned that the Rivian, just like carrying something, like dragging a small load, is actually already less efficient than a semi, carrying 80,000 pounds.
That's pretty insane.
So that's where I think most of these people don't like. That's why I think they think it's impossible.
Yeah.
Because they didn't realize that Tesla can make this truck so efficient.
Semi-trucks are just 1% of all vehicles on the road. So roughly about 14 million out of total 1.4 billion. Why is Tesla Semi such a big deal for Tesla and also Tesla investors?
Well, Tesla's main mission statement is to push forward sustainability. We want to get into a sustainable future. So I'm sure, I believe that they announced this semi-truck like more than 5 years ago, right? So they already said that they want to look at what causes the most emission, whether it's carbon dioxide or particulates. So if you look at the semi, like you say, it's only 1%, but it puts out 20% of the CO2. And more than 1/3, I say like more than 33% of the particulates that comes out of your exhaust. Those are the ones that actually kill you. Not the carbon dioxide. Like our lifespan is like 5 years less because of all these particulates. It actually gets into our system and never comes out. After a certain micron level, they just get stuck in there. So it causes 33% of these particulates. So I believe this is the reason why Tesla is pushing forward with the semi-truck. Since it's only like such a small market, and it requires that much battery, it requires like 900 kilowatt. But this is the kind of number that we came up with. We don't have the exact number from Tesla. Based on their 1.7 kilowatt hour and 500 miles range.
Correct.
And we calculated you need some extra battery. So we just come up with 900 kilowatt hour battery pack. And you said that they can build 11 Model Ys.
Yeah, so to build on this point here, the Tesla Semi 900 kilowatt hour battery pack. We know if you go to Tesla's website today, a Model Y long range uses a 82 kilowatt hour battery pack. The Tesla Semi sells for, let's say, around $200,000. We don't know for exactly, but let's say around 200,000 US dollars. A Model Y long range sells for 66,000 US dollars. So for the same amount of batteries, 900 kilowatts hours, we can sell 11 Model Ys, which generate 3.6 times more revenue, 726,000 US dollars, compared to selling one semi for 200,000 US dollars. We also know that battery is still the main constraint right now. So shouldn't Tesla focus first on continue to ramp up Model Y production until it fulfills all demand before ramping up semi-production? What's your take?
Okay, this is my take. Just my opinion, because we don't have all the facts in yet. It is true, all the math checks out. But I believe Tesla said that, I think in the last earnings call, that starting this year, the battery is, their battery limiting factor is not as much as before. Because they still need to ramp up the Model Y, right? Correct. They still have Austin and Berlin, they're still ramping up. So it's not something that they can just say, okay, this year we want to make 500,000. Because the supply chain all needs to follow. It's not just the battery, right? So I believe they have extra batteries. I believe in moving, otherwise, and also on another point is, if they didn't have the extra battery, they wouldn't be launching the Cybertruck next year as well. They'll be holding all that off. So I believe they're already seeing that the battery supply is there. Plus, even though they delivered the semi this year, it's not going to be until 2024, which is what, 2 years from now? It's only 2 years from now that they'll be ramping up to 50,000 units.
True.
So they still have this time. So it's not like, let's wait until we have all the battery and launch 50,000, right? So I believe they need to go slow. So they work with their partners and figure out what issues they're going to have. I believe this is what's going to happen. So this year and next year will be very slow run. And I believe they will be working out all the issues, including that they'll probably be delivering trucks to themselves for their own use. And then they're going to, because this is something completely new. It's not like a car or anything. It's commercial and industrial. They really need to get everything right. So I don't think they're going to go a fast ramp. They're going to go a very slow ramp, right? But so that's why they're targeting like 50,000 only in 2024. So that's 2 years away. So that should answer your question. Like the battery use is not going to be like right now.
Fair.
Okay. The second question is profitability. Actually, I'm not so sure that the Semi is not that profitable compared to the Y. Okay, hear me out, right? Your $200,000 for the truck is based on 5 years ago. Anyone else believe that you can buy that truck for $200,000 today? I don't believe it. I think that's maybe they have to like honor like a few orders, like they have to, okay, I'll give it to you for. But I think any new orders, okay, I'm just going to put out numbers here.
Sure.
It's going to be closer to 300,000 than 200,000. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, let's take 300,000. What if it only cost him 100,000 to make? That's $200,000 profit, right? And what if they're selling it for 260,000? That's $160,000 profit. What's the profit of a Model Y? $15,000 times 10, 150,000. It's about the same, right? It matter.
On top of that,
So
I think you also call out that Tesla isn't selling the semi-trucks themselves. They're selling an overall solution together
Yes,
with
correct.
mega packs.
correct.
Each mega pack is like $1 million.
Yes, correct. The economy, the ecosystem of the semi truck is for Tesla. It's just not the profit just from the truck itself. I don't know if Tesla will make some of these superchargers, provide some of the superchargers, or we call it mega chargers, V4 lah, basically. Version 4 that have over 1 megawatt of charging. Some of them will be built for their customers, and they will run it themselves. But I'm sure Tesla will run some of these, and they could probably be profiting from this. And like you say, Tesla is working with their partners. I think this comes in one of the questions I keep getting asked on Twitter. It's like, how in the world is Tesla going to build all these superchargers, right? It's going to be a whole new network for trucks. And the answer is pretty easy, because they are going to work, they're going to integrate like with company to company, right? Like you said, they work with Pepsi, and Pepsi only have their certain routes. And so they're going to work with Pepsi and say, okay, this year we're going to deliver you for this kind of routes. And if you're going to build a stop here, these are all the things we can build for you also. We can build the solar farm for you if you want. We can put the battery packs for you, the mega packs for you if you want. And then you do your own electricity contracts, right? So another question people ask is, but wouldn't it be very expensive, the charging? Like some people go to super charging network. That's completely different, because this is industrial rates. The industrial rate for, you can apply like big types of electricity and get like bulk orders. And I just checked recently, it's below 8 cents. So my thread that got all these likes, I was using 16 cents.
Very conservative.
I was very conservative. I was just using in my mind, I understand that they are going to be much cheaper, because Elon Musk actually promised them 7 cents 5 years ago. But I just checked, I don't think that's going to happen, because everything has gone up in price. So now it's going to be probably 8 or 9 cents, right? So I saw the industrial rate on average across US is below 8, 7.3 or 7.6 cents, I can't remember. So it's below 8 cents. And this probably, if they contract this electricity themselves, this is probably the rate they're going to get. And just by using 16 cents and compare with diesel trucks, the savings is 49 cents a mile. Now, if you bring this down to 8 cents, what is the savings? I haven't done that
Insane.
math. I haven't done the math, but it's a lot. And if you say, if the, and I'm just doing like 45,000 average miles a year, right? But a lot of truckers say they drive a lot more. Maybe 80,000 or 100,000. But the more you drive, the more you save.
Yep,
So the economics is insane for a truck.
it is.
So that's why I say I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla selling for $300,000, because if you calculate the savings, it's way more than that. So within maybe 3 years, let's say you stretch it out to 4 years. If you're a company, Pepsi, I come and tell you, okay, upfront you pay me $300,000, which is more than a regular truck, but after 4 years, you break even. Now, Elon said 2 years before, but I doubt all that economics, right? Let's be more conservative. But even if I tell you 4 years, after that you're gonna save 50,000 a year.
Yeah.
Would you buy my truck?
Yes, because trucks are used for a long time. They use a lot.
It's insane. Okay, another myth I want to bust on your channel. I got a lot of myth. After I posted that, a lot of people like coming to me.
We're the mythbusters.
Yeah, a lot of people coming to me all these questions, right? So another myth is like, if I drive a diesel truck, after say, I don't know, 500,000 miles,
Yeah.
or 600,000 miles or whatever, I need to change out my engine. I don't know what's the term they use. They have to like basically change out everything. And it will cost them about $25,000, $30,000. And the argument is, what's the cost of your battery when you run it down? After a certain number of miles, you have to change out your battery. It's at $80,000. Okay, let's say it's $80,000. Let's say you spend $30,000. So you have a difference of $50,000. But you're talking about 750,000 miles. At 50 cents a mile that you save, at my conservative calculation, that's $300,000. So it's $50,000 extra for the battery. but you save $300,000.
So I want to ask you, Ezer,
Mhm.
with all these cost savings, the Tesla Semi is not a consumer market product. So when people
No.
make decisions, fleet managers make purely economic financial decisions. They don't care about the style, the brand, or like the interior or not. Because of that, the Tesla Semi is so compelling. Payback within 4 years, pure profit after that. What kind of market share is Tesla Semi going to capture?
Okay, I have thought about this. I always tend to be conservative. I'm not a Tesla Uber bull. I'm a Tesla bull, long-term bull. So I tend to be very conservative with my investment. It's my money, so I want to be very conservative. So the US, let's just assume that they're going to just launch in the US for the next few years. The US semi market is about 200,000, around there, right? Annual sales, total truck, semi truck. I'm talking about just class 8 trucks, because this is a class 8 truck. It's about 200,000 units. Tesla is aiming for 50,000 in 2024.
Correct.
I think that's a bullish aim. Maybe it'll be in 2025. I don't know. But I can see them doing 50 to 100,000 at the peak.
That's its global volumes.
No, US.
US only.
I'm just talking US.
Huh.
Global will be much more down the road, I think. But global, they will be doing a lot, right?
Because globally, actually,
Yeah.
I was doing a little bit of research thinking about this topic. Let's say it's a proxy, right? In the US, there's a shortage of 80,000 truck drivers. We know that number is a lot. In the whole of Europe, it's around 300,000 truck driver shortage. In China, 1.6 million shortage of truck drivers, and it's by far the world's largest transportation and also logistic market. So I think that the headroom there is huge. But right now, we're just talking only about North America opportunity.
Okay, I just want to talk about North America because this semi truck is still new, and I think the rollout will be slow, just like all of their cars, right? It takes years to roll out too, and I don't think Tesla is going to roll out before they matured this market, like before they test it out, fully test out, and they want to duplicate it in Europe, for example, or in China. I don't think they'll do that. So let's say even in America, right? You're talking about 50 to 100,000. And then by the time they roll out to China, my feeling is that the Chinese would have copied, right? Like you said, the bullet, whatever, right?
BYD
They would have copied. In fact, the batteries that Tesla get is from China. So they use their own battery.
Sounds like a lot of headroom. We just focus on North America growth and we'll see how it plays out. Fully agree with Ezer that the Chinese companies, I'm most hopeful about BYD, would also have their own alternative solutions over time. For many Tesla investors, after Tesla Semi rolls out, they think about Tesla van to help with last mile delivery. So semi trucks are 1% of the total vehicle fleet. Vans are roughly about 10% of the total vehicle fleet. So let's say the market's around 140 million vans worldwide of the total car population. Do you see that as a viable market for Tesla to enter?
I think it's not a priority. Actually, I just posted this tweet today. You see it?
Yes, commented as well. Talk a little bit about it.
Okay. I could be completely wrong. I want to put a caveat here. I want to put some caveat why I think it's not their priority. Okay, because they're rolling out the Cybertruck next year, right? So they have the Cybertruck going, they have the Semi going, and they're still ramping the 3 and Y.
Correct.
So we know, and in fact, Tesla themselves have told us this, for their factory to be considered mass production, it's a minimum of 250,000. So they probably won't want to build any factories unless they can get 250,000. I think Semi is the exception because, like I say, each Semi could be like 8 to 10x the profit.
True.
So even if 5x the profit, you're already at 50,000 Semi is 250,000 Model Y, right? So let's say you're gonna build a van, and I just looked at we just look at US market first before we go into other markets, right? You're talking about a particular size van. It's also only about 200,000 a year, 2 to 300,000 a year. And we can't assume Tesla is going to take 100% market share, right?
Agree.
So even if you're very optimistic and say they take 50% of market share, that's less than 250,000. So this is the reason why I think it's not their priority. Because why you open up another factory, another line, and you're not fully profitable, right? And why not just ram the others first? And okay, here's the caveat, right? The caveat is Tesla did mention their next gen platform. And they covered it. We don't know what it is.
This is their third generation platform. They have the title Robotaxi, but we don't think it's just one car.
Yeah, correct. So the third generation platform could be one that could be used to build several kinds of cars. If that is the case, for example, if they can be used to build the robotaxi that looks like a van, right? A robotaxi doesn't have to be look like a car, right? What if it's a minibus-like thing, right? That just move around and just go in and out. The same thing can be used to build a van. So if that's the case, then yes, they will be building a van and the robotaxis at the same time. So that's one caveat. The second caveat is, if the Cybertruck platform can be used to build a van as well, I think the length is about the same, right?
It's quite big.
It's about, the length and width is what, you just have to build a different shape.
Yeah.
Different shape. And I believe the battery pack would probably be the same. So if this is what they're planning to do, right after the Cybertruck, they probably build a van behind it, because it's just the different kinds of top.
Agree.
So these are the two caveats. But other than this, if you're saying they're going to build a whole new line for a van as a new product, I'm a bit skeptical.
Fair point.
Yeah.
I think if Tesla had to prioritize one product,
Yeah.
it's still going to be the $30,000 car.
Yes.
Because for many Tesla investors,
I'm hoping.
that 50% year-on-year growth cannot just come from Model Y the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. There are some people within the Tesla community that believes that you can sell $50,000 car, 20 million of them. That's crazy. It's not.
I'll add the nuance there that it can be a $50,000 blended average selling price of hardware and software. I think the hardware cost will go down over time if Tesla can make it up from the software cost. So whether it's insurance, full self-driving,
If you have FSD.
and if they launch their own app store as
Yeah.
well, let's say.
Yeah. If you have FSD, yes. But again, I don't want to count that rich. Like, I don't want to count any chickens before the hatch, right? As an investor, I mean, FSD has been like next year and 2 years later and 2 years later. 2 years later. And I've talked to some Tesla drivers who actually have the beta. Secretly, they tell me like, hey, it's not even close, right? On the Twitter or on YouTube, they're like, oh, very good, right? But secretly, I think everybody admits it's not there yet. So, I don't know. Maybe we're talking about 2 years from now, 3 years, 5 years, who knows? So, I think, again, I want to clarify, I think FSD will come. It will come, and then it will change the whole equation, and everything, all the economics that we talk about now is going to be changed. So, no point like putting that in.
Fair.
You know? So before we actually know what's going to happen there,
Yeah.
that's not definitely, because we're talking about just the next 1 or 2 years. Let's say in 2024, that's 2 years away.
Yeah.
If they don't have this cheaper model, I think it's over for Tesla.
Agree.
For the stock, it's just gonna crash, because the ramp up of the 3 and Y, they just have to keep lowering the price until they have no margin left, and then the stock is just like what did Elon say? Like a sledgehammer to a souffle, right? So, but I do think they have been secretly working. At least I believe they worked it in the Chinese
It's in
design
the
studio.
Shanghai Design Center, yes.
I believe in the China design studio, in the last 2 to 3 years, they have already been secretly working on this
Correct.
compact version. So I believe they're going to launch it. Again, this is just my assumption. 2025. Hopefully 2024.
I also think now, because of a recession, it may actually
Bring forward.
bring it forward, like let's say at least announcing in late 2023 to make orders.
That's possible.
Because Elon Musk has also just commented on Twitter recently,
Yeah.
the recession's
Yeah.
hitting the world hard.
Yeah. I think they have everything ready. And I believe the new expansion in Berlin and Austin, and if they will do one in China, they're all going to be the compact, right? I don't think they're going to build more Model Ys or 3s, because they're already finding sort of a limit now. They're sort of hitting a limit already.
We'll see that grow. Next year, Model Y is going to be the top selling vehicle in the world by revenue and volume. So we talked about the van and some caveats, as Ezer mentioned, if it shares a platform. If we go beyond that, some more forward-looking Tesla investors are saying, to complete the last food delivery, they can then use Tesla bot. Not now, but say 5-10 years from now. Tesla bot for last food delivery. What's your take on how that can play out?
Well, I did a video on the Tesla bot with Warren Redlick.
Yeah.
In that video, I said, in the first 5 years, the bot is probably just going to be a factory bot. It's not going to be very aware. It's not going to be like an AGI, that you need to be aware of your situation all the time. And this is what some people don't understand. Like, you don't really have to have a sci-fi like bot to make it economical. Because as long as you can make the bot somewhat aware of a very small particular situation and just do repetitive work there, it's already economical. So I believe in the next 5 years, what you're going to see is the bot working in factory. Probably in Tesla factory first. And then slowly they may start, selling it to or renting it out to other factories. And if you're talking about bot that can walk around in the world outside, I don't know the timeline on that. It could be 10 years, possible. I don't know, because there's so many things. Just look at FSD alone. That requires situation awareness for the car. And the car is on on a given road. It doesn't even have to worry about things outside of the road. So with a bot, there's so many things. Okay, I'll give you an example, right? What if the bot got hold of a gun and pressed it?
Asimov's 3 laws of robotics.
Yeah, Asimov. So the bot doesn't know what it is. It sees a kid playing a gun, and go and find a gun and try to learn what it is and shoot someone. So, I mean, that's just an example, right? There's so many things that can go wrong.
Yes.
So if you ask me conservatively, I'll say that it's like something like a 10-year away kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And by that time, do we need that kind of bot for last mile delivery? Maybe we'll have some sort of a drone. Drones may become very good.
Yeah.
Okay, for most deliveries, right? It's small items, small package, like even your pizza, right? Or your food. Let's think about your food delivery, Uber Eats or whatever, right? Just a small drone, going to a restaurant, putting it in and coming to your house. That's it. You don't need a car, you don't need a van, you don't need people, you don't need anything. That would be the cheapest, right? So
Yeah.
I believe that, but of course, big items and stuff, yeah, maybe you're talking about robot to help you unload and stuff. I think those are long. We're talking about time
So
span, right?
time ahead. We talk right now a lot about the electrification of ground transportation. Beyond that, do you see an opportunity for Tesla to enter the electric ship and the electric airplane market? Does it actually make sense from a total addressable revenue standpoint or even Tesla's mission standpoint? So for context, if you look at all the CO2 emissions for transportation, 74% of that comes from ground transportation. 12% comes from air. Only 3% comes from shipping. So what's your take on those forms of transport for electrification?
Okay, do you know that a lot of the shipping is to transport fossil fuel? So when we electrify the cars, right? We electrify everything else. You actually reduce the need for transcontinental shipping. So that's one. So okay, the second part is, would Tesla get into the shipping? Let's look at cargo ships. Don't talk about the small ferries. Those are pretty straightforward, right? I think many municipal or a lot of governments or a lot of small companies are already doing that. Like if you're going a short distance, let's look at the challenge of like a transcontinental or very long distance, like 30-day journey kind of thing, right? Carrying large amount of. I did a calculation. You need something like 30-40 gigawatt hours of battery, which is impossible. Now, this is engineering first principle impossible because, okay, maybe later we made a joke of a butt by Elon Musk.
When they have the Tesla ship launch delivery event, you'll see Ezer's tweet there.
Okay, I dare say this because I've done the math. 40 gigawatt hour on those ships will take up 40% of the space.
Okay.
It's not economical. But here's how you can do it. Why not put 3 gigawatt hour? Anywhere between 2 to 3 to 4, and you only take up 4% of the space. And then you have charging every day or 2 days away, right? That will take you 2 or 3 days journey. Maybe a 3 gigawatt hour can do a 3-day journey. So I can see them having, like for example, let's say if you're going from Hong Kong to Europe, maybe you can stop at Singapore, charge up there,
Mega pack.
Zoom. This one you probably need Mecha Godzilla to to charge the ship, right? So, and okay, when I posted about this, right, on Twitter, the same kind of skeptical question, oh, you're going to charge your ship for a whole day. No, silly. People don't understand how the battery works. If you take one cell, if you can charge from 10% to 90%, let's say if you can charge 80% of the cell in half an hour, it means you can charge two cells at the same time. So if you can charge the Cybertruck or you can charge the semi in half an hour, you can charge a 3 gigawatt hour system in half an hour also. Because you just have more parallel charging, right? So you can actually charge the ship 80% in half an hour. But shipping probably very slow, you got a dock and all that stuff. So let's put it 2 hours. That's 2 hours to charge for another 2 days of journey. That's doable, right? So let's say you stop in Singapore. Then from Singapore, you stop in, I don't know, some other spot. Because a lot of ships just follow the coastline, right? Go to the Suez Canal, and then from there you go to, So most of the routes, I think you can have onshore charging.
Yeah.
Maybe those can be provided by nuclear energy or massive megapacks.
Nuclear, very sensitive topic in Singapore.
Okay, so maybe not nuclear, or solar, wind farm, geothermal, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Even fossil fuel, right? Let's say whatever it is, but just working out the math, it can be done.
Okay.
And those that goes through transatlantic oceans, an idea is to put floating charging stations,
Yeah.
right? Like those in petroleum oil rigs.
SpaceX bought like 2 of those.
So those oil rigs, right?
Yes.
So you have those charging stations,
Yes.
and then you have offshore wind farm, right? I'm not sure. Okay, somebody corrected me and said you cannot get much wind in those kind of situations. But what about offshore solar farms, right? Or wave energy? If you put it deep down, it's gonna be moving, right? So you could probably have those, and then you have platforms that have megapacks, lots of them, like 100 gigawatt hours of them, and the ship just come and docked, Or actually, they do lay under cable.
Correct. So Singapore,
electricity, right?
Singapore and Northern Australia is building a cable, sun cable, that will power a quarter of Singapore's energy needs. So you can build undersea cables.
So I believe you can
Highest
even,
traffic routes.
let's assume my ocean solar and all that doesn't work. But the floating station concept still works. You could have massive cable running underground, bringing power all the way through. So actually, I don't see any reason why you can't.
Shipping looks doable.
Shipping
How
is
about
doable,
planes?
but I don't know if Tesla is the ones that are going to do it. Because if you think about it, like you say, the total number of ships is not that many. So would Tesla want to get? So maybe what Tesla would do is maybe they'll just provide the batteries, right? They provide the infrastructure. Would they build the ship? Probably not, because they are really good shipbuilders, right? So why would Tesla go into this kind of industry, right? Doesn't make sense for them. But would they just provide the battery? Yeah, the battery and technology, or maybe the engine. They make really good engines. So or motors. We don't call it engine. We call it motors, right? So maybe Tesla will provide that technical stuff, but I don't think they will build ships. Neither would they build planes. Maybe they'll just provide the software or the technical stuff, right? And maybe the batteries.
Got it.
But
So
I don't think they will build planes. I don't think they will build ships.
Sounds like Tesla then can be a good platform. We'll provide you the motors. We will provide you the batteries. Maybe a little bit of the platform. And maybe even a little bit of the software intelligence.
Of course, the software.
Autopilot
For
came
sure.
from the aviation industry.
Yeah.
If you think about autopilot and full self-driving in shipping and in planes, that's actually a lot easier than on roads.
I think this what separate Tesla out. Let's say if I were to provide the ship, right? Let's say Xiangyong, whatever that builds the ships, Korean shipbuilder or whatever. If I'm Tesla, I go there. Okay, the motors and the powertrain and the batteries, and I'll teach you how to do all that. You build your own ship, right? And I will run everything, the OS, the entire ship with our software. So I think that's the selling point. Otherwise, the Chinese company will come. We also can give you the battery. We also can give you at 80% the price that Tesla is giving you, right? But Tesla is we have all this software and stuff, right? So maybe that would be their selling point. Because if you just talk about battery, if you bring this 10 years from now, it's going to be a commodity, right? Everybody's going to be making batteries. So if it's just battery alone, I don't think Tesla will be very competitive. So,
Ezer, this has been a very insightful look You're sharing a perspective on how Tesla Semi can change the future of electrification. Clearly, Tesla does not need to build everything by itself. It has a broader platform that can be used for more forms of transportation. If I were to summarize everything for Tesla investors, what's the implication for them?
Long term, because everything we talk about is the rollout is slow. So if you take I also see a lot of people say, oh, the Semi is a game changer. The stock is going to moon, right? No, it's not. Even at 50,000, right? Let's say it hit the target. What is 50,000 Semi versus 3 million by then? Maybe 2.5 million, 3 million cars are going to sell.
That's correct.
It's not even going to move the needle that much. So the Semi is not going to move the needle for Tesla that much. The Cybertruck might, because we talked about that before a little bit. It's a much bigger market. It's part of the SUV market. It's also the truck market, which is huge in the US. So the Cybertruck, and even that, you're talking about what? Is it next year launching it? So we have now seen how slow the ramp up is. You're talking about at least minimum 2 to 3 years to get to the 500,000 number for each of these products. So as investors, I think you gotta look at the horizon much longer. Like I generally look at 2025, 26 to 30. Next year would be difficult. Let's put it that way.
Agree. Let us know what you think in the comments below. All these are long-term catalysts, some very long-term catalysts. And for many of us, Tesla has a high beta, high volatility, both upwards and downwards. It is a recession. Anything can happen. The stock price does not follow the fundamentals of companies today, for better or worse. If you found this video useful, please click the like button. You can follow Ezer on Twitter before he reaches his million subscriber count, his follower count. And click subscribe.
That ramp up is even slower. So, even slower than Tesla ramp up.
That one, multi-year ramp up.
Yeah, decades away.
Decade ramp up.
Yeah.
Depends. With this momentum, Elon may one day, Sandy Munro is going to start noticing Ezer as well.
Yeah, if Elon says hi, maybe. Before we go out, Daren and I are going to watch Avatar in 3D.
Yes, Onyx 3D.
Onyx 3D. So you guys should go and catch this movie.
Avatar 2.
Avatar, Way of the Water.
There are 4 sequels in total. James Cameron is like, I'm doing it. He's also long term.
So we are promoting Avatar in our Tesla video. Should James Cameron give us something?
Hey, both is all about sustainability. James Cameron, if you're watching this, you know what?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's all about the environment.
Yes.
Makes sense.
So click subscribe to stay updated to more videos on Tesla and maybe Avatar reviews.
All right.
Take care.